You're hungry for change. You know you're entrepreneurial. You've got the plan. Trust yourself. You just need the platform. Well, guess what? I've got 5 business hacks for you that can put you right on your way to making $10,000 a month, even with your bad credit. Stay tuned. I'm Rosie. You just gotta do it scared. There was a time when I was barely scraping by on $12 an hour. I eventually got into corporate, but I quickly realized that I'll always be disposable to a company. So to buy my time back and have a life without pressure, I had to build something for myself that was balanced, stable, and fulfilling. Today, I'm sitting on an active real estate portfolio worth over $1.5 million, built in just 2 years. How did I do it? I leveraged local business opportunities and mastered the principles of money. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. You know, sometimes the best business ideas come from the most unexpected conversation. Recently, I had 2 conversations with friends that sparked this video. If you ever call me for business strategy and help, beware, okay? Because you might end up on my YouTube. So the first local business hack, let's call it the local opportunity spotter. Why? Because opportunities that are right in your backyard can change your life. So my friend Nana calls me. We're brainstorming ideas for her. And she mentions that she needs to go to the laundromat when we're done. But then she starts talking about all these drawbacks about the laundromat. It's in a great location, but there are parking issues. Nana has lived in this community for years. I mean, her kids were born in this community. So not only is she connected locally, she's been going to this laundromat for years. So actually at this laundromat, she knows the owner, the machines that people like to use, the brands of machines that tend to work better, peak busy time, foot traffic patterns, you get the point. So she didn't realize this, but as she was speaking, I realized that she understood the core fundamental of the laundromat business. This is why I say sometimes your $1 million, literally, the idea that's going to make you put $1 million in your bank is right in your backyard, is right in front of you. You've probably been talking about it and you just have not connected the dot. The light bulb hasn't gone off. So a light bulb went off for me and I said, hey girl, do you realize what you just did? You just did your own business idea analysis. Like, she was shocked, but I was like, yes, this is the thought process around looking to start up an idea. One thing I realized, when you're hungry for change, ideas come to you. Start with what you know and where you are. When I started in real estate, I had to understand my local market to align my business model with customer needs. So in this case, Nana seems to understand the fundamentals of actually having the foundational know-how to be able to run a laundromat. And given her current opportunity and situation, this actually could be a great opportunity for her. But the challenge here is she does not have good credit. And the reason I'm sharing these stories, obviously the names have been hidden for blah, 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 blah. But yes, I did get the thumbs up to be able to share these stories. So she's hungry for change. She wants to start a business, but the credit is not looking good. So if you happen to find yourself in that situation, stay close. So I introduced her to what in real estate we call subject to. Now this strategy will help her get the laundromat. So if done right, she'll be able to take over both the business and the mortgage payments of this owner instead of having to get a new loan. She can own and run the laundromat even with bad credit. More on this strategy to come, so stay tuned. You know, I talk about a laundromat because sometimes we get so excited with what's going on online and things like that, but old boring businesses is really where you're gonna not have too much headache and still be able to cash flow really strong. If you're someone who's kind of like burnt out from their corporate job or career, looking into a laundromat and running that business, being able to buy that and run that could be a really viable way to replace your income and still not have that level of doing double shifts or working 3 days in a row or just getting stressed out at a job and still be able to keep and maintain your income. So I want you to start thinking local. So let me know in the comments, what is a business that you frequently visit or a business idea that is old school, that is boring, but works? And if you're thinking of one of these business ideas for yourself, you can start thinking about some of the pain points that you as a customer, when you go into this business, that you experience. Another way to think about it too is, what are services that are missing in your area? Remember, your next $1 million idea can easily come from revamping an old local business. Our second business hack, the relationship alchemist. Now let's talk about the superpower that's going to set you apart from all those out-of-state investors trying to swoop in on your local opportunities. Your advantage are local relationships. Now, when my friend Nana realized that she could potentially run her own laundromat and actually buy it from the owner, who would be the best first person to speak to about this? The owner that she already has a relationship with. People do business with people they already know, they like, and trust. So here's how you're going to become a relationship alchemist. Identify local business owners in your target industry. Genuinely engage with them. Ask about their journey, their challenges, and offer value. Find a way to offer value before asking for anything in return. So in this case, Nana will engage the laundromat owner. Something like this: I'm taking y'all to school. Okay. As you know, I've been coming to your laundromat for years, and I've always admired how well you run it. I'm actually thinking about getting into the business myself, and was wondering if you'd be open to grabbing some coffee or tea sometime. I'll bring you to the laundromat. I'd love to hear about your experience and maybe get some advice. Boom, you're in. Now here's your secret sauce when you get to sit down with them. Make it 80% about them and only 20% about you. Now this is gonna be tough because I know you wanna tell them about all your great business ideas and all that's going on in your life and Debbie, menya sa. 80% about them in their talking, in their sharing, and only 20% about you. And as a matter of fact, even that 20% about you, use that to figure out questions, follow up to their 80% that they're already talking about. Because you know what? People love to talk about themselves. And when they're able to do that comfortably with you, it builds a connection. And when it comes to the opportunity of selling you a potential business, you're already in there. You're already in there, sis. And that's what the relationship alchemist is all about. Now, let's take Nana through the subject to I mentioned about earlier. Let's make that our third business hack, and let's call it the subject to strategy mastery. The subject to strategy is literally your golden ticket to be able to buy your business, even if your credit is not there yet. So here's how subject to works. You take over the payment on a business or property, whilst the original owner keeps the loan in their name. It's like borrowing their good credit to be able to start your own business. Let's break it down step by step because I like it real simple. Okay, identify a business. Like right now, Nana has identified the laundromat business. Now you're going to approach the owner and express your interest in learning more about their business. Now, I didn't tell you go and be like, hello, hey, I have the money, I want to buy your business. I'm going to do subject to. No. Okay, there's a strategy to this. We're building you up as a relationship alchemist, and then we're getting you to the point of being able to work with them and own the business. If you don't know the owner, ask the neighbors. It's also a great way to know about some gist, okay? What's going on in the area and the business. You can also very easily look on your county's website. With a local business, you can very easily find the address, owner's information, all of that stuff is public information. Now, during your conversation, this is where your only goal is really just to collect data. You're here just to collect information because what you're trying to do is identify pain points that they're currently experiencing in their business. Right now, we have a lot of folks that are in retirement age that are looking for folks to buy the business or take over the business. They might not have dependents who might be interested or even have the availability to take over the business, but you might be interested in that business. So having these kind of conversations allows for you to be able to identify pain points and see where you can connect the dots, right? To be able to buy the business with a process like subject to. So through this conversation, you're identifying pain points, right? You're identifying reasons why they might want to sell. This is where that 20% I mentioned earlier comes into play because you want to ask the right follow-up question. The conversation will lead itself for you to be able to probe about a subject to opportunity. Now, you can't go mention telling people, hey, you want to do subject to. Most people don't know what that is. But if you ask questions, right, that hit on the need of subject to the owner, it might pique their interest. Okay, so let's say you're going to do this, right? Before you approach the owner with your proposal, let's talk strategy. Now, if they're open to selling their business, here's a pro tip. Don't jump the gun with your offer. Don't get too excited and put your number out there. Instead, ask them where they would like to be amount-wise to sell their business. This is still not the time to give them a number that you would like to buy their business at. This could be a good time where you ask for their business's profit and loss statements, their business tax returns, probably for the last like 2 to 3 years. Again, information gathering, data point gathering, right? And listen, you don't even need to know how to read those numbers, okay? What you're going to do is hire a really good bookkeeper or an accountant. They're going to be your secret weapon because any accountant or good bookkeeper will be able to look at that data and tell you if this is just all such a mess, if this has been faked, or if this has potential for growth and direction. And even more importantly, if this is heading the right way, they can give you a clear direction on what the value of the company is. Now, if it aligns with where the business owner wants to be, then that's great. They can also give you an idea of what business projections can look like once you take over, because we don't want you buying into a business that's literally coming crashing down. That's not always a bad thing though, because you can foresee how you can bring in new marketing and new idea to revamp an old idea. I mean, I already talked about that in the beginning, to be able to make good money. Another good thing about hiring either a bookkeeper or an accountant to go through this is they can actually guide you around questions that you can come to the table with when you're speaking to the owner next time. Now, these steps that I've gone through are very important, okay? This is how you're basically stacking the bets in your favor to make sure that you're buying a good business that is more likely to project and grow in your favor. So by doing this, you know the true value of the business, what the seller desires, and what their pain points are. You will be perfectly positioned to negotiate an agreement that makes great business sense. Can you tell that I am a master negotiator? Let me tell you, in business school, that was one class that I showed out, okay? When it came to negotiating, Yep. I took it all the way. Baby. And they were like, I'm like, listen, I might not be a banker, but I'll get you the best deal on the market, okay? Okay, so now back to Nana. I've given her all that I'm giving you right now. Now she's armed with this information. She can say something like this. Mr. Johnson, I've really enjoyed learning about your business. It sounds like you've put a lot of work into it over the years. I admire what you've done with your business and the impact that you've been able to have with your children. Remember, Nana has 3 kids, so this is a great way for her to connect her experience as a mom to this business owner who also has a responsibility of taking care of his kids. So then Nana says, I'm curious, have you ever thought about what your next chapter might look like? And when you ask questions like this, you have to zip. Because once again, 80-20, this is an opportunity for them to give you more information. We're in the process of negotiating now. It's hot, okay? This is how you win in sales too. When you ask these kind of really important questions, you have to force yourself to zip, okay, and allow the individuals to divulge information. And that's a great and a quick way to build good connections. And sometimes you just gotta be comfortable with the awkward silence. You know what I mean? If he ain't saying nothing, you're not saying anything. Maybe he's thinking, you don't know that. So maybe just be a bit comfortable with the awkward silence and allow him to speak. So when he does, Nana can say something like this. I ask because it inspires me to do the same for my children. Now look what I do here. Hold on. Would you be open to discussing? Okay, so you see what's happening here. Nana's slowly introducing this concept of subject to the owner. But before she got there, she's built enough of a relationship that she's able to ask this follow-up question and allow to see this opportunity for her to come to the table with a subject to deal. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Because I'm taking you to school today, okay? Let's go to work. Now, let me be clear. This is not about taking advantage of anybody. It's really about creating a win-win situation. The owner at this stage gets to step away from the day-to-day grind. Like right now, I'm looking at purchasing another 6 properties from an owner. He's older, he's starting to have some onset of long-term disease. He desires to retire, doesn't really have someone to pass it on, but wants to sell it because the real estate is his retirement. So with someone like this, we're in conversation about the subject to that allows him to still get payments whilst he travels the world a little bit or does the things that he wants to do with his retirement year. Don't sleep on subject to, because this allows the owner to receive monthly payments like he's already been doing, but now he can step away from the day-to-day kind of grind of the business, and you get to come in starting fresh with new ideas to take over and revamp the business. Okay, let's move on to our 4th business hack. Let's call it the creative space transformer. Now, this one is for my creative entrepreneurs, okay? Sometimes the perfect business opportunity is not that obvious. You have to create it. Remember how I told you to look through your neighborhood? Heck, you could drive down your neighborhood, spotting opportunities, spotting areas of need. Well, this is where this pays off. Let's say you see some closed down restaurants or even an abandoned building, but it's close to a good market area of some sort, or even poorly maintained storage unit. Let me tell you, these are all gold mines. That's just waiting for your creative hook spot, your creative touch to it. Imagine if you found a space. Just imagine if you found a space, okay? It's in a decently good location. And the thing is, sometimes you can project. Like where I came in to do real estate investing, when I first came, it wasn't that hot of a market. Today, you'd be lucky. You'd be lucky to even get a property because now it's like the hottest thing and every outside investor is coming in. So being able to kind of be a first mover and see the opportunity growth, how do you do that? There are local meetings that happen that tells you what's going on locally that they're trying to do to revamp the community. Go drive around and see what renovations or developments are happening. The clues are there for you to identify what's going on around it. I know a bunch of stuff that's going on all the way across the state and how it can eventually come and impact your local area. Just do the research. I'm telling you, everything's available to you online. You can even go to city meetings. You can go and sit down at some of these city meetings and see what the plans are going on, where they were in the different quarters, the different years, where they're projected to be. City planning meetings. Like, there's so much information available to us for us to make a well-informed business decision. And this, at the end of the day, is the betterment for ourselves. We're helping our community, but even more importantly, we're building wealth for ourselves. Clock it and get on it. Okay, see, I'm always going off top with some crazy, exciting ideas. But anyways, what I was trying to get to was, imagine you found this space, right? And it has, really good parking as well. Don't just see what was, envision what could be in this space. And like I said, don't sleep on boring businesses. So could it be the next laundromat in town? A co-working space? A design studio for creative? Ooh, a pop-up dining experience for locals? Man, imagine if you collaborated with a couple local chefs and created this kind of like customized experience, leveraged social media locally, and just like built it out and took people through a cultural experience. How dope will that be? Okay, so here's an action plan for you to make something like this happen. 1, make a list of underutilized spaces in your area. 2, research the current market demands in your community. I already talked about ways that you can do that, but even more importantly, just start having conversations with people in your community. Then 3, start brainstorming ideas on how these spaces can meet the gaps and the demands that you've identified. And 4, I've gone through a lot about different relationship discussions and techniques. Use some of those when you find the owners and start having those kind of conversations to identify an opportunity to even do a subject to deal. And remember, someone's failed restaurant could be your thriving laundromat empire. Okay, perspective, baby. Okay, we're building foundational empires here. Let's go. Okay, so our next business hack is the no credit needed deal closer. Okay, let's bring it in. Okay, here's another story of a friend who called me, Mauli. Okay, so he calls me out of my sleep. Don't you hate it when your friend calls you and like, oh, are you sleeping? No, I was just resting my voice and my eyes. Of course I'm sleeping. What are you doing? Okay, well, guess what? He called me to explain to him how he can use the subject to strategy to be able to be a lender to a friend of his. This is for a car loan because he's like an international student. Now, this might not work for everyone, but when you spot the opportunity, definitely explore it, because this could be a great way for you to make money without stressing out about it at all. So just like I walked through the process with you today, I walked him through it. They agreed on terms. They had an attorney draw up the terms and they were able to get it notarized, and he keeps the car as collateral, right? So what happens? Anything goes south, repo, here we go, right? So here's what's interesting. Now he's officially a bank. His friend gave him a down payment, and now he receives monthly payments from his friend. And now he's making serious interest on his own money. And so, like I said, if his friend defaults on the loan, Mauli is the title holder, right? Because until the payments are complete, then the title will switch over to him. But in the meantime, he still has the power to repo it if things go south. So the friend gets the car that he wants. And Mauli, on the other hand, officially has put his money to work. Now that is passive income, leveraging the subject to strategy. So here are ways that you can apply it to bigger opportunities. We already talked about negotiating with the business owner to act as the bank, so you pay them over time. And like I said, these terms that we're using today, subject to, owner financing, folks don't typically know that. That's why you gotta ease them into it with the right questions, building the foundational relationship, and be able to identify if this could be a great opportunity for them. So you might be wondering, like, why would a business owner wanna do this with you? What's the benefit for them, right? Well, a lot of older generation business owners are aging out and they don't necessarily have somebody to take over the business, and it would suck to just see the business go out and fade out. What if they could sell it? That could be an avenue for their retirement, but also be able to see that a legacy that they built, someone new with fresh and great ideas, has been able to take over and grow it and explode it. Not explode it, but grow it and see it flourish. Another thing to keep in mind when you're having conversations with business owners is you can easily mention that, hey, an attorney will be drawing up our note, things that make things official on the up and up. And this allows for people to be more comfortable and ease in the conversation with you. This is not the time to be going online and doing a DIY contract, okay? We're building an empire here. Let's do everything on the up and up. I remember one of my lenders wanted to speak to my attorney, whom I have a great relationship with, but that was phenomenal, right? He had some questions. The attorney was the one drawing up the note and the terms of the loan. So it was a great way for him to feel comfortable, get his questions answered, and be able to move forward with a deal. And if I failed to pay any of my owners that I was in an owner financing deal with, they can take the contract and foreclose on the home and basically take the home back. On top of that, I have insurance that covers them in case of an incident or an accident. So these are some of the assurances that a seller that might be open to a subject to deal or an owner financing deal with you might be looking for, that you can kind of broach that conversation with them about. And then after like a year or two, depending on your agreement, you've built enough of a sustainable business. You've built your credit, right? Because you've taken the time to build your credit. Now that you have an ongoing business, then you just go to a local credit union or an investment fund. There's typically a lot of them locally that help small businesses be able to build out their business. And then you practically just refinance out, pay the owner the balance of his loan, and there you have it. You officially own the whole business or the whole portfolio of properties. This is truly a great way. Like, I'm speaking from experience, and I'm telling you, building the relationships is so key that it becomes such a win-win situation for both parties. The key here is getting creative, okay? Getting creative and being able to identify the value that you're going to be connecting the owner with, and identifying the value that you're going to be bringing to the owner. So in this case, it could have been those monthly payments that the owner could still use, but can't handle the day-to-day of the business anymore. In my case, with my portfolio, it was the owner not being able to deal with the tenants and manage the properties anymore. I have a system set up that allows me to be able to take that over and be able to transition that smoothly, so I can run the business, still be able to pay the owner, and still be profitable in that portfolio. So eventually, when I refinance out, I paid out my lenders 100%. No wahala, and now I own all the properties. So if you're like Nana, remember Nana from earlier today? Yes. If you're like her and you've been thinking about ways to establish something that will stick, a business that will stick and grow and build a legacy for you, think about these things. Become the local opportunity spotter. Now, after watching this vid, if you're driving to and from work, if you're going out to go meet up with your girlfriends for some brunch, look at where you're driving. Look at the areas. Now you're really looking in town and understanding the dynamics of your own community. 2, become the relationship alchemist. Start building genuine relationships with local business owners. 3, master the subject to strategy. This could be a great opportunity for you to use creative financing to acquire businesses, and it becomes a win-win situation both for the business owner and yourself coming into business. 4, become the creative space transformer and start to see potential in underutilized spaces. And 5, you are the no credit needed deal closer. I've taught you a thing or two on how to navigate some deals without necessarily having good credit. Whew. I gave you a whole business school sesh today. You know, anytime I watch these type of videos to spark an idea or to get motivation or inspiration, I always think like, okay, what can I do in the next 30 days? So I put together an action plan for you. So I thought about ways that you can take action immediately, because sometimes I know when you have so many ideas or you just want to do something to change your life, but you might not know, like, okay, what is the first step that I need to take? What is the next action step I need to take? Take it in a 30-day time frame. Break it down into 4 weeks. Week 1, here's what you should do. Spot your opportunity. You can make a list of 10 local businesses that you frequently use. Then identify 3 pain points for each of those businesses. Then you want to go ahead and research the business to be able to identify who the owners are, right? Find some contacts for them. Do that for week 1. Let's move on to week 2. For week 2, I want you to focus on building relationships. Reach out to the top 3 businesses on your list. You can schedule coffee meetings or just stop by with a little snacky snack. Okay, everybody loves a little snack. This is a good opportunity for you to practice your listening skills, because we love to talk. This is the time for you to listen. So it could be a good opportunity for you to practice your listening skills and take notes on your stories. Okay, now for week 3, this is where you're going to start crafting your proposal. At this point, at least one business should start to be like standing out the most to you, okay? You're gonna go ahead and develop a subject to proposal for the business and just practice your pitch. Practice your pitch with a friend and kind of have a conversation with them like they're the business owner and you're looking to present this proposal to them by building the relationship with them, them, understanding their pain points, and kind of broaching the conversation around the different styles and ways that we talked about presenting the subject to deal. And once you've done this, you're ready for week 4. Make your move. Have that conversation with the business owner. You know, I would rather you have that conversation and be turned down than not have the conversation at all. You know the power of being turned down and just being like, thank you so much. You know, it actually even builds a foundational relationship because you can in turn ask them, hey, if it's the laundromat business we're talking about, you tend to know, like, folks that are in the same space tend to know each other. Do you happen to know anyone that might be interested in selling their business? You just never know, right? So initiating that relationship in itself could open doors that you could never even imagine. I'm telling you from experience, the way my business has grown, I wouldn't have been able to do it all by myself. But because I came and I took action, the way doors have opened for me, sometimes I'm just like, wow, God, it just doesn't make sense, right? Because when you think very methodically, very strategically, but in reality, the way things work in your favor, you just got to take action and have the faith. I want you to remember that success doesn't happen overnight. We hear an overnight success. They've been building quietly, slowly for a decade. I might have built a real estate portfolio in just a couple of years, but the momentum it took me to get there has been many, many years in the making. Let me know in the comments an idea that excites you, something that you might be going after from just a local perspective that could really set you up in building an empire for yourself. I want to meet you in the comments, so let's chat. Sis, you know I believe in you. You are capable of changing your life this year. Did you see the video that I made for you on starting a successful business and investing? I'll put it up here for you, so definitely check it out. Will I see you there? And remember, around here, if you're not doing it scared, what are you doing? What are you doing?